I had the chance to study in 3 different countries for the past 3 years. So I studied in France for a long time, and I came to study in 2 different places in the United States. The first time in Nebraska, the second time in Hayes, and I also had the chance to study in Sydney, Australia, for 1 semester. And every experience has been quite different. Whereas from France to the United States has been quite too extreme, and Australia was kind of like an intermediate, a hybrid between both of them. Back home, universities are owned by the government, and so fundings are coming from the government as well. And there's not as many universities as here. Here, most of the universities are serving a special purpose, and sometimes, in my opinion, sometimes universities have been founded not in the purpose of serving the student at first. They serve the student, but the first purpose of them being founded was not serving the students. Whereas in France, for example, it's always been owned by the government, and it was to provide an education to the student. And so fundings come also from different parts, and back home, because it's owned by the country, the costs are a lot reduced. I got scholarships, but I pay $6 a year to go to school. So when I went to university, my first tuition fees was $6. And it's kind of crazy. And the top, for somebody that will not have scholarships, they will have to pay $500 for a whole year of university, which is nothing. Here represents maybe 2-3 credit hours for in-state tuition fees. And some people here take 17 hours, 15, 17, 18 hours of credit hour per semester. So the amount of money spent for their education here, to me, was outrageously expensive.
I like it here. When I first come to Kansas, I feel it's so different because I feel there's no people. Where's everyone? Why there's nobody in the street? Because in my hometown, there's always a lot of people in the street. My hometown, there is about 10 million population, so always a lot of people in the street. And we have very convenient public transportation system, and which is different in Kansas, because I learned afterwards, everyone, their transportation method is only by cars or by plane. And our hometown in China, we have more trains. When people go out, it's very convenient to take trains. But I like it here because even though when I first come here, I feel nervous. I feel kind of scared because it's just so different.
Studying also was very, very different. Because back home I never had to pay any book, and everything was taught on the blackboard. Everything was taught during the class sessions. And so it's a lot of work that ones have to achieve by itself, you know. And I had to be autonomous, I had to be independent, I had to make my research myself to the library. Attendance is not checked back home in the classes. No, if I want to skip class, I do it, and nobody will tell me anything. We have one exam at the end of the semester, which is called a final, the same. And it's this one exam. It all comes down to one exam. If you fail it, you're done. If you pass it, you're good. So what you have to do is just attend class. Not attend class is your choice, but you just have to get it together enough so that you manage to pass at the end of the year. And there's no grade like A, B, C. We still have like mention, like special mention, honorable mention for some students. But it really doesn't really matter when you're gonna get a job, because we don't put our GPA on. So it really matters if you pass or if you fail. And that was also really different. For example, I've been working full-time. All the time I was a student, I've been a student for quite a few years. I've been working full-time, so 40 hours plus a week. And most of the time I skipped a lot of classes because of work, because I needed to maintain financial sustainability, pay apartments, pay the bills, you know, feed myself. And so yeah, it was very, very different, because, you know, sometimes I showed up to class 1 month before the exam, and teacher never knew me, you know. They never sent me an email, never cared about me, and I just showed up 1 month before class. I asked for help from my classmates and say, hey, you get the notes for this class, trying to gather everything together. 1 month of learning full, and I passed the exam. And this is what happened for my whole undergrad. So, whereas here was very different, because you come in a class and you have so much work to do. You have a quantity of work that is outrageous. People give you assignment, a research paper, 2 pages, 4 pages from one day for the next week, or for example for the next class session. It's just crazy. People here are going through tough times. Students here are going through some tough times, and whereas I think it would be too long to talk about it, but where people in high school in Europe are a bit in advance, and it's not derogatory to say it, we're just, the way our school is articulated, sports is not as important, so we have long sessions of school. So I think we go out of high school a bit in advance. Here people are, once arriving in college, people in the United States are able to catch up with such an outrageous amount of work that they catch up the late from high school, and finish with just, you finish high school, you finish a university in the United States with people that are knowledgeable, people that are smart, hard workers, and people that know that, you know, they need to get their stuff together. They have a schedule, they need to meet certain deadlines. You make people very, very, very responsible in the United States. In France, we don't have the choice of classes. We don't have, at my university, I never had musicology. I didn't even know it was possible to be, to be a specialist in music from the 1900 to the 2000. You know, I just didn't know it was possible because the university didn't bring me all those horizons. You know, as I told you, it's founded by the country. So the funds are coming from the country, and sometimes people, when they have to cut the budget, well, they cut the budget on the school. So sometimes you cannot learn in as many places as you want certain specific skills. And so most of the time, university is very, very general. If you go to university back home, it has a very, very derogatory connotation. Like people that go to university are usually poor, don't know what to do. And why? Because when you pay $6 a year, if you screw up 1 year, it doesn't really matter, you know? It's just the same price when I go here after I get out of the bar, I order Domino's pizza and I spend a couple years of tuition fees, you know? So it doesn't really matter to the people that much when they skip a year, and usually it educates them in the sense that they have to be autonomous and independent.
The other difference, I'll give you an example. When I talk, like right now, or in front of a lot of people, I will always feel uncomfortable. I feel so nervous when I talk. I want to change that part for a long time. But in China, in my university, CS, we don't have we never have a class called public speech. We don't have this kind of class. But when I come to Fort Hays, this university in Kansas, this is my second year here, and then I learned from my advisor. There is a class called public speech. It can help me to talk in front of people, so I chose this class, and until now I think it's all went well. I learned a lot of things from the course. Even though I still feel a little bit, I still feel nervous when I talk, but I think I'm making progress, and I really like this class. I like the way in American university, a lot of class is to help students in their abilities, like speaking. This is very important ability. I think it's not. I think it's even more important than the knowledge in the textbook, because communication, talking to a group of people or to a lot of people, that is really important in my life.